Good evening. So I work for Nestlé, and but tonight I don't want to spend my time in talking to you about Nestlé. However, if you are interested in what we do regarding sustainability, we have just released our Creating Shared Value report for 2010, and so you will be reassured that we continue to intend to delight our consumers with products which are healthier, tastier, but also better for the environment. To do that, we also participate in the French experimentation, as it has been mentioned earlier. And at European level, we are actively involved in an initiative which is a food roundtable for sustainable consumption and production, which I would like to present to you tonight quite rapidly, but for you to be aware. Because we were facing a situation which was mentioned earlier in France, for instance, with this kind of initiative from retailer, which provided information, which still provide information on our products, what is the supposed carbon footprint of our product, but even without contacting us about it. And as it was mentioned by our colleague from Holcim earlier, even when you leave the shop here on the bill, you get not only the amount of euro, but also what is the CO2 footprint of your shopping list. So what was the expectation of our Holcim colleague is already a reality in Leclerc retail in France. Another initiative is a Casino one, again in France. So we see how active our friends in France are regarding carbon footprint and communicating to consumers. And also in UK, we had Tesco. We are facing this initiative of Tesco with another methodology, of course, as the one which is used in France, as you can imagine. And even now in Finland, you have products which are bearing not only carbon footprint, but here water footprint, you can see on the bottom. So we thought we need for an harmonized approach and practical environmental assessment throughout at least European Union. We have seen this morning initiatives from Walmart Retail in US with the Sustainability Consortium, but in Europe at least we need an harmonization to begin with. And often what is called sustainable consumption, we perceive for our poor consumers is more sustainable confusion. So we decided to initiate, and together with other food companies at European level, this food roundtable on sustainable consumption and production with three objectives. First, as I said, priority is to establish a scientifically based methodology to make environmental assessment of food products. Also to identify tools how to communicate that to consumers, because you see we cannot put only a figure on a pack. We know that the consumer do not understand that, and we cannot also put everything on the pack. So there are new tools, mobile, virtual web, and so on. So we want to also review what is the advantage of drawback on each of these tools, and also use this roundtable to promote continuous improvement along the food chain. One particularity of this roundtable is that it involves all the food chain: farmers, packaging manufacturers, food manufacturers, retailers, and also civil society, such as NGOs, green NGOs, and so it's environmental NGOs, and also consumer NGOs. This is important to make sure that we all are aligned on the outcome. There were these 9 funding organizations, which are European associations covering the entire food chain, as I said earlier. And in the meantime, we have been joined by 14 other member organizations, all having an interest in the food sector, being through packaging, through agriculture, or retail. We have one associate member organization, which is the Sustainability Consortium, which you have seen this morning, since they are very much interested in what is happening in Europe. And we have also several observer organizations, meaning they participate in the work, and they can also comment. But for some reason, for instance, government, they cannot be member of a roundtable. So we have different member states, which was not foreseen at the origin, but now increasingly EU member states are joining, which is good. So you see it's from Spain and NGOs and also UNEP, and so you see the list. And also the European Environmental Agency and UNEP. And all this work is co-chaired by the European Commission. This is important. So when you see the structure, we have also other experts which may be involved. And the governance is the following. There is a plenary where all the members are participating, and there is a steering committee where all the constituencies are represented. So it's not a particular part of the chain who is deciding for the rest of the chain, but farmers are represented, packaging manufacturers, food manufacturers, retailers, NGOs, and the European Commission with the same level of voting right, if you want. So this being said, at the working level, there are 4 working groups, one on methodology, one on communication tool, one on continuous improvement to review what are the hotspots along the food chain, and one horizontal one to look at non-European initiatives and also initiatives which are dealing with sustainability but not environmental dimension of sustainability, more social one. So each working group has a clear mandate, and that's very important for the success to be able to deliver according to plan with also time frame. And the first, so you can read the mandate during I try to, so it seems to be blocked. Need some IT support here. Oh no. It's frozen. So after 1 year, we released this one. We have published, maybe the battery is empty. We have published 10 principles, okay, on which all the food chain agrees. Because, you know, to have the first time that we have a platform where all the food chain work together, it may sound easy, but having farmers representative working with industry representative and with retail representative and NGOs and European Commission, it's not so simple to manage. So we have decided first we will agree on principles. And the first one, the lead principle, is that information communicated to consumers should be reliable, based on science, and consistent, understandable. Then we have 10 guiding principles, a series of principles on assessment, how to make assessment, a series of principles how to communicate, and then principles which are covering both assessment and communication about transparency and commitment of the food chain sector to apply this principle. What is the time schedule? So these principles have been released. First, it was the objective for 2010. They have been also, before release and final validation, been put publicly for consultation on the web by everybody interested. And the next step will consist in developing this framework methodology for the food sector with an interim report at the end of the year and the methodology being issued next year. This year, at the next plenary, which will take place in October, we will release a report on communication tools, which is important. And also we will have the report on other non-European initiatives. So that's it for tonight. If you are in the food sector, you have a stake in the food sector, you are welcome to commit to participate in this work, which will hopefully end up in an harmonized methodology and communication practices throughout the European Union, and possibly also with our friend from Sustainability Consortium on the other side of the Atlantic. Thank you.